There have only been 2 occasions in my life when I can really say that God spoke directly to me. The first was back in 2001, while praying at the Carmel Church in my hometown of Bacolod. At that time, my relationship with God was hot-cold. So I was begging Him to please help me find a way to be more close to Him. Very simply, He answered, "Join the Singles Encounter Weekend." It was so clear in my mind when He spoke. I heard that our parish was offering this retreat, but I was never really considering it. This was how I knew that it was a direct order from God. Sure enough, it was through that SD weekend that I slowly became more consistent in my faith journey with the Lord. The second incident caught me a little more off guard than the first. This was toward the end of 2008. And at that time, I was discerning whether or not to leave my full-time job to do more social action work. I still remember it so clearly. One night, I was about to go to sleep. I was lying down when God told me, "Study theology." I said, "What?" I was so shocked. I needed a new word for shock. You see, while my friends were getting their MAs or their MBAs, I always said I would never ever go back to school again. Ever. But after that initial shock, I felt the idea of studying theology resonate somewhere deep within me. So I got out of bed that night. Of course, I couldn't go back to sleep anymore. And I went to my computer and I typed in Google, theology schools in Manila. After I looked through the search results, I became a little bit more excited about this idea of studying my faith more formally. One of the search results caught my attention. It was a blog, and it spoke of a Saturday program of the Divine Word Seminary in Tagaytay City for religious, leaders of charismatic communities, catechists, religious, education teachers, BEC lay workers, future seminarians, and faith seekers. Very interesting, I told myself. So, as I continued to discern about my work, I now included in my prayers this intention of studying theology, in particular, where to go. I had friends who were enrolled at the Loyola and Berry Hill Schools of Theology, and another friend took his MA at the Don Bosco Center of Studies. And there was also a program in my alma mater, the LaSalle University, which also sounded very interesting. So I kept all of these in my heart and proceeded with my 40-day discernment period. A few months later, I sought the advice of my former parish priest, Monsignor Chito Bernardo. His charism was formation, so I went to him, and he told me, and this is how he talks now. Well, it depends what your purpose is in studying. If it is for academic reasons, I suggest you study at Loyola. But if it is for pastoral purposes and for your own spiritual growth, I suggest you take the program at the Divine Word Seminary. Then the next thing he said is what really hit home for me. He said, although these are not his exact words, if you study at SBD, it will not just be for your head, but also for your heart. Wow, diba? And he offered Pat to come with me to SBD and show me around because he used to teach here also. So one Saturday we scheduled a visit. Along with 2 friends, we picked up Monsi Chito and proceeded here to SBD. I'll never ever forget the feeling I had upon entering that driveway, going up to the school, the moment I saw the beautiful trees, the beautiful chapel. When I saw all of that, bam! Sold! And then we met Miss Bing, for the first time, and she warmly welcomed us and arranged for for us to sit in Father Randy's class. Once again, bam, sold. Right there and then, I was certain this was where I wanted to study. Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the plans I have for you," declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. Sorry. Sabi ko na lang ba? Tears of joy yan. Si Miss Lee, umiyak mo na. Monsi Chito was right on the mark when he told me that studying at SBD would be much more than feeding my brain. The last 2 years in CTS and in SBD have fed my heart so much. As in, siksik, big, at the joys I have and continue to experience here are never ending. Through CTS, I've experienced the joy of studying Scripture, which has never become more alive to me until now. The joy of meeting new people, classmates, who are all just as excited to learn more about our faith. The joy of learning under the best professors and getting to know them not just as teachers, but also as friends. The joy of coming to Tagaytay in this beautiful, beautiful sacred place. CTS has also opened so many other doors for me that have led to even greater joys in my life today. The joy of studying Biblical Hebrew, something I never ever, in my wildest dreams, imagined I would become so passionate about. The joy of serving in one of SBD's apostolates, the alternative learning system or house. And the joy of experiencing all of the above in my best friend, who's also here, who almost didn't enroll in CTS, but thank God she did after 3 Saturdays of making correct. And simply, the joy of being part of a wonderful new community of both clergy and lay who are all God sent. So now I am eating my words when I said before that I never ever want to study again. Now, I find myself saying, I never ever want to stop studying, ever. So I thank all my classmates and my teachers and Miss Bing for the wonderful, wonderful journey that this has been. I could go on and on for the rest of the day talking about this, but of course we don't have time. But you will know, dear first year, and the rest who are still continuing in their second year, you will know what we are talking about as you go through this journey. Indeed, graduating last March was not the end, but only the beginning. I thank you, my Heavenly Father, for this most precious, precious gift that you have blessed me with. Baruch Hashem.